all moms the feeling of tending your house, cooking balanced meals, like doing all of these things that create for you to be a good mom and also have this really balanced life where you're doing it all. And so I'm just here to tell you today, you don't have to do it all to be a great mom. You don't have to do it all the time. You actually can't. It's a myth. It's not true. I don't believe in it. I think it's a sack of shit. And anybody who's telling you that they're doing it, I don't believe them either. I don't care what they say. Welcome to Seriously Selfish. I'm your host, Amanda Talajan. Welcome back to Seriously Selfish. I am going to talk about the idea of doing it all today. I think that this is something that everybody talks about a lot. So I don't think this is anything new, but I want to give my hot take on it. Not because I have some grand conclusion, but something that has helped me get through is understanding that I can't do it all the time. I think it's relatable, this pressure that we feel where it's like, have the career, the thriving house, the clean house, your kids are doing amazing, you're cooking meals, you're spending time with your spouse, you're going on date nights, but you also have friends, you're out with your friends. Don't forget to go out with your friends and take some time for you. What's your self-care routine? How long is your self-care routine? When's the last time you took a shower in peace inside? It's like so many things happening at one time that when you really think about it too much, you're like, I actually am not doing anything. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm kind of just doing a little bit of each one. And I kind of feel like a crazy cuckoo person. And then I lie there awake at night like, what am I even good at? And the real issue for me is that doing it all is a myth. And I only found liberation in the idea that I can do it all, not all the time, when I realized that doing it all is actually a load of shit, because no one is. And one of the most honest things that I ever heard or saw was the Shonda Rhimes speech that she did at Dartmouth University when she said, if you see me succeeding in one area of my life, I am most definitely failing at another. And I think that that is a bit depressing if you look at it, but the truth is it can be so liberating because you are one person. One singular person. You have a beautiful life that's full of so many things, and you have many things that you want to accomplish and you want to do, and many people you want to spend your time with. And only when you realize that it's a myth that you can give all of yourself to all of those things all the time is when you realize that picking what thing is the priority is going to create for you to be your best. I think that pulling back sure has to happen, specifically when you have kids and you're in your motherhood era, when your kids are small, because you can't give the same level to everything that you were before. And I think that's part of something that made me really sad initially when I became a mom, because I was like, oh, I'm never going to be this like full person firing off of all cylinders like I was. But it's actually the replacing of things. Some things I don't care about anymore. And I think that I was holding on to them because I thought that by letting them go, I wasn't going to be this same person. I'm not the same person. I can't be the same person. And by letting those things go and realizing what is my priority now, what are my priorities now, is when I started to realize that doing it all looks different to everybody. Doing it all is not actually possible. And I'm not responsible for that. I don't even know if it's a social pressure. I think it's just an internal pressure to be all of these things that we are not actually responsible for, and only we can let ourselves off the hook for that. Is that a bug on there, or is that just a mark?
That's a bug.
Can you kill it?
No.
Or can you flush it down the toilet and save its life?
Wow.
So recently I've gotten into gardening, like in my yard with flowers and stuff. I don't have a green thumb. And so I'm going through how to keep all of these flowers alive. My mom has a green thumb and she's like, this you water these days and that you water those days, and this one don't water it at all unless you feel the soil and it's dry. And I'm sitting there and I don't even have a lot of flowers. I have maybe like 10 sitting out on my deck. And I'm like, I'm in this day and that one, that day. And I'm like, oh, wait, I need to create a schedule for this, right? And I need to tend to each of them when they need it. And then I started thinking about this whole concept of you can do it all, just not all the time. I'm like, this is exactly the same, right? So each area of my life, sometimes some things are going to need me every single day. Some things are only going to need me once a week. Some things are going to need me only when they're dry. But you know what I mean? To keep flowers alive, they need different things and not everything is pressing and urgent. And I think when you're living in a chaotic time or a time of change or a time where you don't feel fully confident, you feel like you're always behind and everything needs you all the time, when the truth is, when you really look at it on an individual level, you can learn to prioritize each thing, create a schedule for each of those things, and understand that they don't really need you at all times. And some things are going to be okay being let go of or not tended to on a daily basis. I think it's less about doing all of the things and more so strategic living. As someone who's always been a little bit more on the spontaneous side, it doesn't feel very romantic to me, but I think that for me to be able to be spontaneous again and feel like freedom, since I was a kid, I've always been looking for this idea of like, I want to live a free life. And I've just learned that in this chapter, for me to feel free and accomplished, I have to be strategic about my time. Know what flowers need to be watered at what time, what things can wait, what things can't, so that everything, like my deck looks right now, can stay alive and happy and bring me the joy that I'm looking for. I'm either in like full zombie mode today or I'm like, do you know the squirrel from Ice Age? That's how I feel. I'm reading this off of here because I actually don't want to mess this up. And I wrote this and I've been saying this, I love my sticky notes. My sticky notes are literally everywhere because my sticky notes get me through. I'm not a journal person. I'm not going to put my notes in my phone because I'll never check them. But I have a sticky note and I wrote this one recently. It's like, okay, redefining having it all. All right. So the real flex isn't perfection. It's prioritizing. Think about that. It's knowing where to give your energy. It's asking for help without guilt. It's saying not right now without an apology. That's something that I personally need to work on so much. I was just telling Demetri today, I was like, when I say that I can't do something, it's like so hard for me. I feel this like pressure on my chest. I would rather say that I can do something and show up sweaty, freaking out, trying to do it, than just say no and keep my peace. This is a personal issue, but I find it to be an unfortunately relatable issue that we would be like, yes, no problem. I'll show up. I'll do that. I'll come there. No. Perfect example of this is sometimes it's showing up late somewhere because I don't think it's a good idea for me to show up with my kids screaming when I didn't have enough time to get out of the house. Saying no to certain opportunities, not picking up certain work calls that I probably should. It's that understanding of how to prioritize things. Not to be woo-woo, but I do really believe in the idea that if it's meant for you, it's always going to come back around. I've had to really lean into that when it comes to work and it comes to motherhood. Because if I'm sitting on the floor playing with Jazz and we are having the time of our lives and I don't check my phone for 2 hours and it's probably a time of the day where I'm solo parenting, but also my work day isn't really over, I have to believe that that work call is going to be okay without me. And I think that when you have a job where there aren't a lot of boundaries with the jobs, such as creative jobs or jobs that aren't really 9 to 5, it's really hard to turn off. And the only way that you are going to have that time with your kids or that time to chill out and take space for yourself is if you know that it's not always going to be the time. So it's really about priorities and understanding how to say no without apologizing. So I've started doing this thing where I'm not like, sorry about the delay. I'm just kind of like, I answer the question. That's really difficult for me because I used to, even if I would answer an email like 2 hours late, sorry for the delay. Who gives a shit? No one is counting the delay. You know who's counting the delay? You, because you're like, I was doing this when I could do that, and should I be doing X, Y, Z? No. So we're not sorry for the delay. We aren't thinking about what we're missing out on when we're enjoying a moment in our life, and we're unapologetically putting things first that we need to put first and that are important to us to put first. Everyone is going to want 150% from you. It's your job to know what percentage you can give them truthfully and authentically so that you can show up as your best self. And that's, I think maybe it was before Jazz for sure. I had my first experience with that where I was like, I can show up to all of these things and give everybody every single thing that they want, but then I'll never have anything left for myself. I didn't mind sacrificing myself and not being able to give myself any time, but the idea of not being able to give him a good part of me, it rocks my brain. So I'm like, no, I can't show up all the time in all of these ways because it's not fair to him. And by proxy, I'm learning that it's not fair to me either. It's very weird how that works when you become a mom, where you start to like view yourself through your child's eyes and you're like, oh, I have a responsibility. And actually, why didn't I care about that for me too? You know what I mean? I think my ultimate point is that success is sustainable, not frantic. And for a while, I thought that if I was being like frantic all the time and like running around and being like, I got it, it's fine, you know, like a 90s movie, being an assistant, like, don't worry, and you're like dropping things. No, that's actually not what I want to do. Okay, that's not the way I want to live my life. And I'm the most successful when I have a sustainability about my routine, my day-to-day, and the understanding and the way I'm able to reflect myself into my responsibilities. I also think that to be able to have that concept really take root in your life, it's understanding that asking for help is not a weakness, is actually wisdom. And it took me a really long time to understand that too, because I was like, well, if I can't do it all and I have to ask for help all the time, then people are going to think that I can't do anything. When the truth is that the most wise people I know have a team around them. And when I say team, I'm talking about they know how to ask for help to their partner. They know how to ask for a support system. They build a village. And I know we love to talk about how like, where's the village everybody spoke of? The newsflash and most unfortunate truth of all is they're not just going to show up at your door, and you have to build it. And I myself have taken a lot of time recently. I think over the last couple months when I've started to feel a little bit more confident, a lot of my brain power has come back. I can actually hold a conversation, and I'm like, oh, I think that I'm ready to reemerge myself in a social way into the world. And can I tell you how much it has helped me to realize that I am not alone, and building that village and asking for help, not necessarily in like, come over and help me do XYZ, but just having someone who's in the same stage of life as me to say, hey, are you going through this? And what did you try? That mental load of having to now figure out how do I potty train? How do I take away the pacifiers? Well, I'm going through this with my partner. I wonder if anybody else has gone through it, or I'm feeling uncomfortable, or this, that, whatever. Being able to talk to somebody in the same chapter of life as you is one of the best gifts that you can give yourself. And asking for help in and of itself is an amazing thing and such a gift, but also asking someone who's there with you in that same place. And so I find that it's so funny because you feel like you're the only one going through something until you are able to build that network of people who are definitely in that same place as you. And I've learned it. And my life is significantly better. And I told Dimitri actually the other night, I was like, I'm actually so happy right now. I feel really happy. I feel really settled. And I think the reason is because I have friends who are in the same place as me, people who I know that I can say, you know, this is what's happening here, and most likely they're going to be going through the same thing. And so I don't think that I could have done that if I would have kept that big armor that I had on of saying like, I don't need a village. Like I can do it myself. Like I don't need friends who are in the same chapter of life as me. And I don't need to open myself up to that. I don't need help. No, I do. And it actually has affected my mental health in an extraordinary way, and brought it to a level that I didn't even realize it could be. And so the bravery of asking for help, the bravery of creating a network of people who are going to be able to understand what you're going through will also create that sustainable success that you're looking for. Can I just confess, I'm really not my best today. This is going to have to go in. I'm so sorry. I'm not my best today. I'm on day 3 of my period. My brain fog, I can't see. I feel like I'm like this. I'm unwell. So if my energy's low, that's just the way that it is. So I am really sorry. Anyway, I can't. Like my brain is a mushy. You're living it. I'm living it. I can't do it all. I am literally living. You can't do it all. You can't be bleeding and think that you can actually come on here and say anything in complete sentences. Okay, so I have 3 solutions. 3 things that I think can help. Okay, the first is choosing your big 3 for each week. I personally choose it for the month. So every month I'd say like pick your big 3. What are you focusing on? What are the 3 main pillars that you're going to focus on that week? Okay. So like for me this month, mine are that I'm focusing more on my motherhood, stay-at-home mom vibes, because Jazz is only in daycare right now for the summer, 3 days a week. And so half the week I'm in my stay-at-home mom era, because I'm going to be a content creator and stay at home mom, you know, like Dimitri just doesn't know that I quit my job yet. Anyways, this is what my summer looks like. So my main goal, one of my main goals this month is focusing on jazz. And I know it sounds so weird. Even I feel triggered saying that out loud of like, I'm focusing on being a mom, but we have to break it down like that because sometimes other things take precedence. I'm exposing myself right now because it makes me uncomfortable to even say those kind of things. And I think it's okay if you're like, being a mom is one of my top priorities this month. It can't always be the main focus, you know? And I'm just being transparent here. So we're doing our summer camp. I'm focusing on him and trying to work out these educational ways I can take him on experiences this summer. That's 1. 2 is content. I'm focusing a lot on content this month, this podcast, and making sure that I am showing up as best as I can for my content while also making sure the two of these things can work simultaneously together. Being strategic about my content, how I'm going to plan it, coming up with ideas ahead of time on the days that are content days, making sure I'm filming and my mind is fully in that. Days I'm with Jazz, my mind is fully in that. I'm not crossing over between the two, and I'm trying to keep them as separate and functional as possible. My third thing is Dimitri. Trying to show up for him and be patient, because Dimitri can be the person that I take out a lot of my anxiety on. And it's summer, it's good vibes. He's working really hard. He deserves me to be nice to him. So I want to focus a lot on making sure that these two things that I do have a hard time balancing, I then am spending my time using Dimitri as someone who I come to for help, not someone I take out my anxiety or my stress on, and also someone I am spending separate time away from these two things on. That's my month this month, simply because I feel like the last 6 months have not been an even exchange of all of those things. And I really want to focus on family, good times, and content this summer. That's just where I'm at. I don't know what that's going to change into come July or what's going to come the month after that, but that feels really good to me. And because I know that I only have 3 things that I need to prioritize, even though they may be complex, I am able to break them all down and give my best to them and then plan my weeks accordingly. And because all 3 of them kind of have to do with each other, for the most part, I know that I'll be able to create a good, I call it a circular flow. I don't know if that's a real thing, but it's like when everything that I have going on feels like it's a complete circle, because you know how sometimes it doesn't. Like sometimes you're like, I'm involved in this and I'm involved in that, and it's all very choppy and weird. This feels very circular to me, and that's always my goal, that my month feels like everything is kind of flowing together and affecting each other nicely. Number 2, we've already talked about this. Normalize asking for help. Normalize it. Everybody wants to normalize everything, but I think that I want a t-shirt that says normalize asking for help. Second part of that is let go of feeling guilty. Let go of the guilt. We are creating our 3 pillars. We are normalizing asking for help so that we can accomplish those 3 pillars well, with strength, with joy. And we're not feeling guilty about it. We're not feeling guilty for saying no. We're not feeling guilty for saying I can't come to that. We're not feeling guilty for saying I don't want to. I don't want to. I actually had this grand realization the other day. I don't think I ever had social anxiety. I am taking that off the list of things I do have, which is, long, but I have other things. I don't have social anxiety. I don't have it. I think I just never wanted to go to half the shit I was going to. I think I didn't want to do half the shit I was doing. And then when I became a mom, I doubled down on the fact that I thought I had social anxiety because I couldn't speak. I couldn't remember anything. I couldn't remember words. I couldn't remember colors. I literally couldn't remember the word egg for 3 months. I could not be around people when I couldn't speak. And I also was doing all the shit that I didn't want to do. So we have to let go of feeling guilty. Someone's always going to be mad at you. I'm really sorry to say it. Someone is. Someone's always going to be mad at you because they're always going to want something from you that you're not able to provide. And if you are truly asking for help and letting go of feeling guilty for saying no, sometimes you're going to disappoint people, but that's okay because they're not living your life, and you have to focus on what's best for you to create that circular success. Oh my God, my whole foot is asleep, but I don't want to show my toes. But I don't want to wear socks. All in all, I feel like we're all feeling like we're failing at something at all times, and I don't think we deserve to feel that way. And it doesn't matter what avenue you take or what your life looks like in motherhood. If you're a working mom, it's like, are you spending enough time with your kids, and are you tending to your work enough? If you're a stay-at-home mom, are you doing stuff outside of your children? Are you doing things for you? And are you only spending time with your kids? To find true joy in your life, to feel fully successful in your life, you have to create sustainable success, which means that knowing what your priorities are and knowing how to water each of your plants at the time they need to be watered, and understanding that your garden will be full and happy if you know how to tend to each thing. You don't have to tend to each thing all the time. You're not responsible for that. Stop feeling guilty for saying no. Stop feeling guilty for doing what's best for you. And stop feeling guilty for asking for help, because you deserve to have help, to feel supported, and to be surrounded by people who are going to make you be the best version of yourself, not pressure you into doing things that you don't want to do or that aren't good for your life, or make you feel less than because you're not out here doing it all, which again, doesn't exist. You are successful, you are confident, you're a great parent, you're a great friend, you're a great partner when you know how to strategically prioritize all the things in your life that you care about. And that's going to look different for every single person. That's what I'm doing. And if this hit home for you, send it to a friend, a sister, someone who needs to hear it, because I think that we all need the gentle reminder that it isn't possible and we're not responsible for that. Ever, ever, ever. And don't forget to stay seriously selfish. Bye.